It's interesting because when I was listening to this, every song, it was like, that's a great line. That's a great line. It's like if I had sat there and like written down every line that like, that's fantastic, I would have still been at home writing down lines. What are your favorite lines?
You know, there's days when you're writing where your contribution, it just depends. Some days you're hanging on for dear life, and some days you're leading the charge, you know, and some days it's somewhere in between. And Kiss My Boots was one of those days where I just was channeling feelings and truth, and just, you know, it was like almost it was already written. I was just placing lines, you know, and so that was just magic for me. It's almost like that song didn't not exist. And at the same time, the crazy thing about that song specifically is like I didn't show up to write that song that day. That song only happened through a pretty interesting chain of events of, you know, showing up to write on a Friday. I had 2 guys in the room with me and then 1 guy on Zoom, and we were kicking around ideas for 3 hours or so and didn't land on anything. And finally I was like, hey, I'm gonna get a snack. Let's just take a break, just walk around for a second, just do what we do when we're stuck, you know, just kind of get a bite to eat. And so we came back, and it just started with a line of like, comes out with the whiskey, comes out in the whiskey. That's what we started with. And it struck a chord with me once we kind of dove into it, and I just kind of knew where I wanted to take it. Like a byproduct of showing up and waiting around for something to happen. You know, I learned so much about songwriting from this record, piecing it together and taking your time with it, not trying to rush just across, hey, I wrote a song today. I'd enjoy it too much, and I'd rather leave with 1 or 2 great lines and come back to it a week later and try to finish it than just sign off on a song just to say we wrote a song that day.
Talk about the inspiration behind that song, because it came out and the whole world was like, we know what that's about.
Yeah, I could see how people perceive it to be, you know, just about one thing or one person. Like I'm not naive to that. But like I said, you know, being not the only person that wrote that song, I know what it means for me, and I know it means multiple things for the co-writers. And at the end of the day, I wrote that song for me. It's helped me heal in a lot of different ways. And even having it out and even having it around for the past year, I wrote it a year ago, it makes me think back to even being, you know, a new kid in town and thinking that about certain people in the industry, you know. And you're in the industry, and there's probably multiple people on our, you know, Kiss My Boots list. And even in everyday life, you know, maybe it's somebody at a traffic stop or somebody's boss or whatever. But the most important thing for me on that song is trusting and knowing that that song is so much bigger than what I've been through or what I could even say about it, because my label and my team were like, yo, this song is resonating with fans who are going through tough times and that need an outlet to deal with some trauma or some hurt or some narcissistic relationships, whatever it may be. And so I feel like in a sense, you know, my job was kind of done the day I put it out. You know, it's like, it's just, for people to make it about what they want to is more important than me trying to, you know, say exactly who it's about and try to, you know, put the dart on the board, I guess, if you will. You know, I really have enjoyed, and it's been really fulfilling watching people say, hey, I've been going through some stuff in my life, and I've been working out to this song, and it's helping me, you know, stay on the high road and not blow a gasket on somebody. It's like now there's an outlet through the song to be like, man, take a deep breath and go blast this song. And you know, it's a universal, you know, message to being betrayed and being maybe mistreated, however people want to take it. That's most important to me, is I want people to put their own stamp on it, you know?
So many people were watching that music video in like slow-mo, just looking for like clues.
You know, I really enjoyed conceptualizing that video, and I wanted it to be a little mysterious. I had this idea sitting by the fire one night, and I wasn't trying to get creative on it. It just popped in my head, that opening shot of getting a call and it not necessarily being line for line with the words, like going off of, there's no singing, it's not a typical music video. I'm not like, there's no hero shots. So I wanted people to be like, is that even BK playing himself? Is BK just this guy that's a snake hunter? You know, I wanted there to be talk about it, and I didn't want it to be so clear. Same thing as the song. I wanted people to gauge and to chat about it and start a conversation and just enjoy the piece of art that it is.
Where did the snake come from?
We hired a snake guy that literally lived like 35 minutes away from the farm. I don't even know how it worked out that way, but I called him myself and I said, hey man, I need a snake, a timber rattler for a music video. And he goes, dude, I've done so many music videos. He goes, they're usually all rap. I hadn't done a country one. I was like, I'd love to be your first. And I sent him a picture of these boots that I had just bought that matched that snake. I had to drive out an hour and a half to Cookeville and to BJ's Western store. And I'm really proud of it. I think it's different. I hadn't seen a video like that. You know, I think that was really important to me, to have something that kind of sets myself apart, you know, not only sonically, but visually for that song.
You talked about King Ranch kind of being the fun song, and you made a joke and you said, it's not going to win Song of the Year, but it's super fun and you need all kinds of these songs. What is your Song of the Year song on this album, in your head?
That's a good question. Well, until Cody Johnson had a Dirt Cheap song, it was dirt cheap, but no, I'm just kidding.
He did say that was his Song of the Year.
Yeah. Let's see here. I mean, Kiss My Boots.
Yeah.
I would say that.
That feels like a brave song to write.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Did you feel like it when you were writing it? Did you feel like you were...
I felt it was more brave to put it out, but more healing to write and empowering to write, but brave to release, you know?
What was brave about releasing that song?
Kind of like what you mentioned. I mean, people could make it about anything they want. That can be good or bad, you know? But I think being vulnerable and letting people know that this came from a real place, regardless of what you think or what you may have heard or how it hits you, just being real and saying, hey, I've been through a tough time at a point in my life. And I've struggled in a relationship and dealing with that and putting that, you know, on paper and to music and to a song and recording it, putting it out to the world. Like, I think it's a big deal. And it's like, I know what I've come from. I know that I've been successful in a duo. I know we've been very blessed. I'm so grateful. I don't regret a thing. I'm forever grateful. I really am.